Welcome to Last Call Kinda. I'm your host, Gerard Morgan. This is Last Call Kinda. Joined with me today, everyone that you're used to, Greg, Drew, and Nick. We're also joined with a special guest here today, Rob Ridarelli. Hope I pronounced that. That was the first time I ever tried that one.
You didn't butcher my last name, so congratulations.
Oh, killed it. Let's go. So today's episode, we're going through Drew's 32-person fantasy team with a whole bunch of people up in Canada. We're going to get into a nice lengthy segment, I'm assuming, of what's pissing Greg off. And then we're going to follow it up with an interview of Rob Ridarelli. And Drew, you want to kick it off? I don't know where we're going from here.
Yes, I'd love to, Gerard. I am proud and honored to introduce my cousin, the man who has always had the sickest hair in our family.
It's true.
He's right.
Thank you.
An absolute man rocket of a person.
Correct.
Smoke show.
Philly sports fanatic, photographer, producer, musician, DJ. Once again, my cousin, Rob Ridarelli, a.k.a. Rob Riddell, a.k.a. DJ Double R.
I'm going to have you live
Welcome
from
to
the
the
closet.
Wow, what a banging intro. Oh my God. You make me sound like a lot better than I am. But maybe we should describe the hair, for the listeners. They hear it's good, but they don't really know what's going on.
Yeah,
It's like a Hawaiian wave that you just never want to stop riding. That's probably not the way to describe it. It's just
Never want to stop riding my hair.
It's just flow. There's just flow. And it's crazy because Drew is pretty cute, but all of the rest of his family's good-looking genes just ditched, and they're like, we're going right to Rob. Drew has a little bit of a cute face, but everything else, hair, it's all going to Rob.
Well,
I don't know.
The forehead.
I'd like to get in the Instagram post a picture of Rob when he was younger, because he had tips that could rival Guy Fieri, dude.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Always.
You were going to Flavor Town.
I was
Always.
Had those highlights. They were strong. Regret it? Yes, I do. But
Never regret it. Never regret it.
So, Drew,
you got to own up to it.
Drew, how
That'd
many
be the
times
best icebreaker.
how many times when you're out at a bar, Drew, does girls come up to you and be like, "So, who's your hot cousin?" and just completely ignore you?
I'll say never, just because I don't think Rob and I have ever gone to a bar together.
I know, right? We talked about it many times.
Many times, yeah.
It never happens.
Seems like
If I'm there, I'll be the first girl that does it.
So wait. So you're gonna tell me that Nick and Drew are French in a bar, but you Rob and Drew have never gone to a bar.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
some cousin.
Rob, and you could probably describe it more. Our family was kind of, I don't know, distant with each other. We only saw each other on really special family occasions.
Yeah,
and it was always great. Like my brother and I, Tyler, shout out Tyler.
Shout out
We
to that.
always loved seeing Rob, partially because Rob was the only normal cousin in our family.
Yep.
But,
Yeah. And vice versa.
Right.
It was always awesome, and mostly when we were younger. That's when all the big get-togethers would happen, all the time throughout the year. And then, as time goes on, family gets together less and less, and then we've always lived so far apart too, which is another annoying thing.
We're always states apart.
Yeah.
This kind of brings up the first topic that I wanted to talk about. I was talking to my brother earlier this morning, and I was like, "Hey, dude, any stories I should bring up with Rob in the pod?" He said, "We need to talk about back in mom's old house when we would go into the basement and we would film us playing The Floor is Lava." Do you remember that in that old house?
Yes. That was the best game ever. And it still is, to be honest.
TV
we need
show.
to find those. We need to find those VCRs.
That show sucks.
That show does suck, but you're literally describing a TV show.
Yes, pretty much.
That's why Tyler brought it up, because he was like, "Dude, if we like pawned that idea. That or not pawned. We made that idea filming The Floor is Lava.
We did.
And we should be the famous ones.
Yeah.
Not that shitty Netflix show.
That's true. I bet you.
Let the record show that Drew Betteridge, Robert Ridarelli, and Tyler Betteridge are the first people ever to film themselves playing The Floor is Lava.
That's it.
Trademark it, man.
Dude, it was like it was a pastime. Like every single time we'd go there, we'd be like, "You want to go in the basement and play The Floor is Lava?"
Yeah.
Like
I was so
that's
hyped.
what we
I was
did.
so hyped for that every time. And I bet you if we released those videotapes, it would probably be better than that show they put on.
Absolutely,
right now.
that show is so bad.
I wish in that show they'd actually die. Like they go into the lava.
Yeah, if it was real
Yeah,
lava,
the actual lava.
Yeah,
That would be much more entertaining.
right.
I would 100% applaud that show.
We know.
if it was real lava,
Oh, absolutely. Only if
Yeah.
it was real lava.
ballsy.
You don't know Nick.
All about
You
the
don't know
fight or
Nick.
flight.
Well, Rob, you're the producer here, so like let's make this a thing. New Floor is Lava show
Yeah.
starring
All right.
Last Call Kinda and the Betteridge family.
All right, we'll
Who?
get the investors and we'll get started shooting.
We're making money on this pod. We made like
Should
$3 on this pod.
I prefer to use the rest of the $2 on Rob's hair products. I mean, seriously.
Okay.
Yeah, how much product
Yeah.
do you use in your hair?
Okay, so today, no, I just hit it with the blow dryer and the brush to
Impossible.
the right, and it stays. See, the hair has been trained for so many years that I don't need to put product in it.
It was the
anymore.
tips, dude. Like the hair just wants to naturally stay up.
Yep, it just got frayed in
I wanna
that
be
that position.
I want to be as far away from this guy as I can, says his hair. Just
Yep.
the other
yeah.
way.
Dude,
Oh,
if
man.
he headbutt you when he was younger, you would have been stabbed.
Yes, you would have been impaled, and you would have been stuck to my forehead for the rest of your life.
So we have, what do we have? We have best hair on the show, and then we have arguably worst hair on the show. Who's talking right now? That'd be me.
Hey, you have phenomenal
Right.
hair. You just gotta
Let it
you gotta
out.
embrace it, dude.
If you
Your hair
if
looks long. Is it long in the back? Oh shit!
you shampooed your hair,
For all the
once,
listeners, he just unveiled the locks.
he did some Fabio. He did some Fabio shit.
You look like Post Malone's virgin brother. He just never really got ahead in life.
Coast
Couldn't find his way.
For the
Just
record,
hanging out.
Halloween picture did go up for me dresses, but or at least face tat like Post Malone. So
I
there's
respect that.
So
That was a
Greg,
good post.
Similar facial hair and everything.
I think if you like shampoo and conditioned your hair once in your life, you'd have pretty good hair.
I do actually.
I'm not buying it.
I actually have a leave-in conditioner that I use too.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah, like I go all out with this shit.
Rob, well, before we get into the deep talks of this conversation, I do want to continue with some of your past.
Sure.
I knew you had a band at one time. I was a big fan of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, and you're also a DJ, which you told me you haven't done in like a year. Now you're doing mostly filming. You want to talk about all that? Like,
Yeah, sure. Do you
what's
want me
kind
to...
of been your progression?
Okay. I'll start from the beginning. And as all great stories do, it begins with Blink 182. And I discovered them in like 8th grade and got obsessed. And my best friends were also obsessed. So we were like, we love listening to this music. Let's start playing it. And Travis Barker was my favorite member of the band. So I picked up the drums. And in high school is when I started that band. It was called Red Eye Flight. And
Red Eye Flight.
we thought we rocked. I'm sure we sucked. But, you know, we started to, I guess, put out a bunch of cover songs and stuff like that. And eventually we wanted to record our own original stuff. So I bought recording software and we would start to make our own songs. And after that, we wanted to make, YouTube was getting very big at that point. So we wanted to get on YouTube and make music videos. So that was the next step. We got a camera, started to record videos for our songs. And it was at that point that I realized like I really like filming. I really liked cinematography, all sorts of production whether it was audio or video, I just really like the technical side of things. I like to be behind the camera, behind the mixing board, just getting everything right. So throughout high school, I kind of messed around with all that stuff, got pretty technically good in film and audio. So then I decided to go to college for that. And I went to Rowan University, and I went to the radio, TV, film major. So once I graduated that, I got an internship with NFL Films, which was like a dream of mine, because all I wanted to do was go work there and just hear all the shit that NFL players say when they're mic'd up, and it doesn't make it on air. So that was an awesome job. Got to hear all that behind the scenes stuff. But besides that, I mean, got to work on some really cool projects. And from there, that was like seasonal work. Like, to get hired full-time at NFL Films is like really tough, because everybody who gets a job there stays until they're like 70. Nobody retires, no new spots open up. So from there, I went to the wedding industry, with where I'm working now. So currently, I am a wedding cinematographer. So I'm with the bride and groom 10 hours out of the day, just filming, and then we put together their highlight film, and that's where I'm at. 5 days a week editing, and on the weekends, that's when I shoot the wedding. So that's kind of the breakdown.
You spend 5 days editing one wedding, typically?
Yeah, I'll definitely take a full week to edit it, but we have a lot of weddings like backed up in the pipeline. Mm-hmm. So when I shoot one on, say, Saturday, I've got 3 or 4 that I shot previously that I'm still working on. So throughout the week, I just work on all that stuff. Gotcha. And then film more, and it kind of just never ends.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the breakdown. I don't know if you have any specific questions about that, but
I should have had you for my wedding. That's what I should have done.
Yeah, what the heck are you doing, Drew? This man didn't.
You have a real
next
wedding
one.
next one.
The next wedding. Yeah, wife number 2.
No, wife number 1. Yeah, vow renewal.
There you go.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Sorry, divorced parents.
Once this whole COVID thing's done, we'll throw a legit party.
And he can record that. Yo, honestly, instead of recording the wedding, you can record the after wedding party.
I've never done that.
Where Bick and Breg show up with the biggest bottle of tequila you've ever seen, and just, I don't know, going completely crazy.
Do you mean the reception, Nick?
I'll take the whiskey.
Yes, it'd probably be the honeymoon, honestly. I'm just going to pop out of nowhere. They're going to be on a beach. I'm going to be just laying underneath the sand. They're going to be hanging out and be like, "What's up, Drew?" Just pop
Speaking
up.
Of tequila, did you see the Tesla tequila?
Oh, I was about to buy one of the bottles, because they sold out quick, and I knew it'd be like an easy flip, like an investment. But I didn't hear about it until like the next day, and had already sold out at that time. As soon as I heard, I was like, "Yo, the style looks so cool," but I haven't heard much about it other than that.
And that's economic.
Have you had the
Bezos?
Have you had the Rocks tequila yet?
Terramana.
I feel like I've talked about that on this pod a lot.
Very good. We have, yeah. It's incredible. But that's economic.
Rob,
Bezos.
Yep.
Young Bezos.
Just in case you know,
Rob,
call me the Young Bezos. You know, it might catch on. You know, help me. Literally everyone does.
Not a person, not a soul.
Drew, I think he's done cutting you off.
Yeah, I'll go to my next question now. Rob, you posted a photo on Facebook the other day, you and Uncle Bob. I just want to, for listeners' sake, maybe for Patty and Maria out there who will know who Bobby Rydell is, what was it like growing up with Bobby Rydell as a close relative? I wasn't, like, my side of the family wasn't as close to him, because just like so it was just like kind of like Uncle Bob was just like someone my dad hung out with when he was younger, and then they just like drifted apart just because of the separation in the family. But what was it like for you being close growing up with him, such a famous guy?
So I feel like most people would be like, oh, it's kind of normal. It's like anything else. And it is that way now, like now that I'm older. But when I was a kid, it was really cool, I would say.
Yeah.
And I would get to go in the limo with him to like his shows, concerts in like Atlantic City. We got to go to Las Vegas and do crazy trips. So like it was really like living like the star life. And I'm talking as like a 6-year-old little kid. So I thought it was really cool.
And he was like 60.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I liked going to his house. He had a big music studio in the basement, and although
I remember
wasn't
that.
Really, yeah, I'm sure we played Lava in there.
Yeah, we went there one time, and that house was crazy.
Yeah, the house was sick. Holidays were sick, but it was just really cool because you felt like you were like living such a glamorous lifestyle. And not that I knew what that meant as a little kid, but it definitely felt like that. You got all the perks. And I could only imagine it's like, say your dad was like, I don't know, who's like super big right now, like
Machine Gun Kelly.
Yo.
Yeah.
No.
By the way, dude, I don't know your thoughts on that, but I listened to his new album.
Yes.
I love it.
Say it.
Love it. So good.
Yep. There it is.
So good.
I don't know if I'm ruffling feathers over here, but
I love it. Nick loves it too.
Greg has a really
Huge
strong
fan.
relationship with his dad, so he likes like AC/DC and that Led Zeppelin, and that's all he listens to.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Greg never grew up.
But also, what?
He likes dad rock.
Well, for
That's 20
you
years old right
guys,
now.
for you guys who don't know, my uncle, his grandfather was Bobby Rydell, very, very famous singer back in 50s, 60s.
yeah, 50s, 60s. He was like the Justin Bieber of his
Oh,
time, pretty
shit.
much.
He was yeah.
In popularity, like very, very equal, I would say.
That's crazy.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was like the singer, and then like the Beatles came out, and like they
Yeah,
kind of started
fucked him
taking the
over.
spotlight off of him. But
Fucking Beatles, man.
Yeah.
And
God.
fuck the Beatles.
Patty and Marie will know who he is.
That's wild.
Yeah. Wildwood Days is probably his most famous song. You guys probably don't know. Nobody gives a shit about who he is now, but back in the day, he was a god. So,
Yeah.
and when I was growing up, all the parents of my friends and grandparents, like, all they would talk about is my grandpa. Like, oh,
Yeah.
how's your grandpa? Blah, blah, blah. Dude, if I went to get lunch up in the lunch lane, I had to talk to like 4 lunch ladies about my grandpa before I could exit with my chicken sandwich. So it was kind of annoying in that sense, but cool in other ways.
How much did that influence your music / film / artistry career?
I guess it was a little inspiring because it showed me that it can be done. Like someone has actually done it in my family and like broke through and became famous. And when I was in my band, I just really wanted to like make it. So it kept me going. I was like, if he could do it, if my grandpa could do it, I could do it. Kept with it. And then eventually, went to college, the band split up and like everybody went their separate ways and stuff. But yeah, it was definitely inspiring.
Shout out Red Eye Flight.
Grandpa gonna get you some
Shout out.
label deals.
I never asked him for help. I should have.
Should have just had him had him as a feature on one of your songs. People would have been like, "What the fuck is going on?"
You would have had such a
I don't know.
verse.
I don't know if his singing would have jived with the Red Eye Flight.
Exactly.
Your market would have been wild. Would have been like kids,
Right.
20-year-olds and like 70-year-olds.
Boomers. It would just be all boomers.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
No, wait.
All boomers.
Rob.
Yeah.
There may be, I may be mixing up with someone else. There may be a statue of him outside of one of the bars in Wildwood.
Oh, there's a mural. There's a mural.
Yeah.
Because
there is.
There's a bar that has a statue of someone that's related to Wildwood, and I wasn't sure if that was him or might have been someone else that had like a strong connection with like Wildwood in some way.
Greg, I'm surprised you don't know him.
Interesting.
No, it took me a minute to like when you said the name, and I'm thinking, I'm like, I know that name from somewhere. And then you said Wildwood Days, and I'm like, Volare, Sway, and I started thinking about those songs, and I was like, wait a second, hold on, it started to click. That's insane.
Greg, he grew up like around the corner from where you grew up.
Where did he grow up?
I don't know. Down in South Philly.
South Philly.
Basically around the
I
corner.
grew up 18th in Oregon. Is what?
Yeah,
I,
18th. There it is, yeah.
Hold on, wait. You grew up in 18th, or he did?
I did.
All right, so I live on 17th and Wolf.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Wow. See, I moved out when I was like 6 or 7. But yeah, that
shout out Nana's house.
Yeah.
So for all the
basement
listeners that have no clue in terms of Philly geography, Rob was about 5 blocks from. We were like 5 blocks from each other.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
Small world.
Small world.
And yeah, my grandpa grew up in South Philly too. I don't know what street though, but he was right around there, I'm sure.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Greg's currently living in Grandpa's house.
No.
I just want to note how hard Greg was thinking about that. Like, explaining the songs, I was watching you, you were thinking so hard. It was
Who the fuck is this guy?
I was like, I know it. What? And then
there were so many
know it.
neurons firing in that brain of yours.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Cool.
All right, well, let's get into the topic at hand. We brought you on because the podcast is big into men's mental health. I originally contacted
all mental health.
No, specifically men's, just men's.
That's why I have the mustache.
We're big on the Movember thing.
I want the record to show that we're here for all mental healths.
Whoa, wait! This is the guy that wanted to fight mental health like a month ago.
That's
When
true.
he
wanted
tried
to
to
fist fight.
He was like, "How we're gonna fight mental health?" I'm like, what?
Yes.
Sometimes you gotta just whip some ass.
I was gonna kick mental health's ass.
Damn right he was.
Well, okay, while we're on disclaimers, we support all health.
Thank you.
Physical, mental, all of it.
Gerard just in the background throwing punches at the air, like, get out of here, mental health.
No, when Drew said we support all health, I was waiting for Gerard to just like grab a pizza and start eating in the background.
Just had
the all pizza diet. Okay, back to it. Rob, I originally contacted you about getting on the pod because we saw your YouTube video, and I looked a little bit into your website. You want to talk about that a little bit? Tell us what, and feel free to tell the listeners where they can find that stuff.
Okay, so I'll start with, I guess, the background on how I got into that. And like I said, I'm currently in the wedding industry and working weeks and weekends, super busy. And then COVID-19 comes around and completely shuts down the whole entire world. So
shout out COVID.
I'm unemployed. Shout out COVID.
We don't shout
SARS-CoV-2. So yeah, I'm sitting there home, unemployed, doing nothing. And I was always a fan of psychology in school. And I always had a little bit of interest in becoming a therapist. So when I had all this free time, I'm like, am I going to sit here and like play PS4 all day? Or should I like actually do something? So I decided I'm going to take some classes, some psych classes, and apply for a clinical mental health counseling master's program. So it started in the spring/summer. It's when I really got into the whole mental health field. And right now I'm currently going to school at Rowan, trying to get my master's in clinical mental health counseling. And that all inspired me to start this website and make this YouTube video that Drew was talking about. And the website is called getthroughanything.com. And you can get there, just follow that link, getthroughanything.com. And my first video I put out was about phobias and how to overcome them and all that kind of stuff. But it's the early days of the website, and I've been pretty swamped with schoolwork, so I haven't put out too much content yet. But my hopes for the site is that it's a place that people can come to feel a sense of community and to learn some things as well. So anybody that has a family member with mental health issues, or if they have issues themselves, or they are just curious, I want you to be able to go to the website, find a tab, and just be able to hang out, talk to some like-minded people, read some helpful articles, and just inspire too. I want to get some like inspiring stories on there posted, because I know there's tons out there, and for people with mental health issues, it's good to read because a lot of times things seem hopeless. So if my website can be a source of inspiration, then I've done my job. So yeah.
Must be taking some public speaking classes. I was listening to that or watching the video, and I was like, damn, this guy knows how to speak to an audience.
I should send you the outtakes. Man. It's hilarious. I'm so bad. I'm just very good at editing. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you all of our deleted.
Yeah, don't.
If you want to laugh.
You can teach Greg a thing or two.
Teach me everything, please.
I just can't stare at a camera like that. It's just so unnatural to me. You're just sitting there like you're staring deep into my eyes, lecturing me about psychology stuff, and the whole time I'm like, if I were him, I'd just be like staring at a water bottle or something. Like I just can't look at the camera for I have no idea what reason.
It's tough, man. Like I put my script right below the camera, and I was fighting so hard not to look down at it the whole time. I would just memorize like little 4-sentence blocks and then just say that, and then just like cut and start the next one.
That's smart though.
That's a pretty good idea.
That's so interesting that you got into psychology from being like a rock star / producer. Like it's such a difference in fields. Like I feel like a lot of us and a lot of the people we've had on the show come from like strength and conditioning or psychology or some backing that like make it kind of like ties into the other, right? Like we had Connor on that was like strength and conditioning and psychology. We had Joey on that was like chiro and strength and conditioning. But you're just like a complete 180, and it's so cool to see that that change and that excitement for mental health coming from not really a background of it.
Yeah, not at all. And it's weird. It's weird that it happened, but like if I didn't have all that free time, I wouldn't have done it. And I'm very happy that I didn't start with it, because having this like audio video background, I feel like is really going to help me when I am completely like certified and I could really get out there in front of people and make videos and stuff, and getting that background, you know, solidified, I think is going to help me in the long run. But yeah, it's a weird 180 for sure.
It's dope though. You have like an entirely different arsenal of tools that you use. Like no like clinical psychologist is going to be like, yeah, I can throw this video together and get it out and people can understand it and enjoy it and watch it and not like, you know, cry watching it because it's so bad. But like your content, it seems like it's going to be going really smooth, and that's awesome, because having informative content that people want to watch is what's going to get you off the ground.
Cool.
That's what we're.
Well, I'm glad
that's
you
what we're
that.
trying to do.
Yeah, it's definitely a very marketable trait to be able to edit and, you know, put together videos and audio and put all that together. Plus, now you're gonna have the knowledge and background to back it all up. That's like a huge aspect compared to us 4 morons trying to figure out how to do a podcast. And not for nothing, it takes Greg however long it does to post together a podcast. But that the video and editing part is obviously like the hardest part, I think. And once you have that down, it feels like everything else just comes kind of natural.
Second nature.
Yeah, totally. But Greg, it's tough. Editing takes a long time. So
with the shit Nick says, you better.
Hey, dude, give me a break.
We appreciate it, Greg.
But
So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna get into like more of kind of why I transitioned into psychology. Like, COVID gave me an opportunity, but for a couple months, I guess years leading up to that, I was, you know, really considering doing it. I just didn't have the opportunity, and I was considering it because I've dealt with mental health issues in my family. So I know how it affects individuals, and I know how hard that can be on their whole entire family. So like also having that background of like dealing with real issues, I feel like I should do my best to get in there, learn everything I can, and just help people through it because I know how they feel. So that's another goal of the website.
I like that. You almost feel like a responsibility to be able to help them. I feel like that's kind of the role a lot of partners have in a relationship where one person struggles. The partner almost, even if they don't understand, they do as much research as they can to at least be able to empathize and, you know, make their partner feel safe or secure or better.
Totally. I like that. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. It is kind of like an obligation. Because I know there's so many people out there that feel just like I did, you know, trying to help somebody with an issue, and they're just like, damn, you know, where do I go? Where do I get this help? What do I do? So, yeah, pretty much.
So do you have plans? So the video that I was checking out was the phobia video. It's funny because I think I have an undiagnosed case of phobia of bees. And you were talking about spiders, and I was like, I'm not thinking about being in a room with bees. No, thank you. But do you have like a plan of like where you want to take those videos and where you see those videos growing to?
I'm not sure yet. I know my goal is to become a mental health counselor, and specifically to help people with like anxiety and depression. That would be the specific field I would want to go into. But with the videos, I just feel like there's a lot of topics people are Googling, and there aren't a lot of great videos on them. So I kind of just want to touch on as many different topics as I can and make good quality content that people can go to and know that it's reliable and know that it'll help them. Because everything I get from the video, I'm finding in textbooks and, you know, reputable sources. So I'm not just making it up, especially not being certified or licensed or anything yet. People probably watch my videos be like, what is this guy talking about? Like, why would I listen to him?
There's no MD next to his name.
No, he's nobody. But yeah, I should probably clarify that more.
He's got good hair, though.
That's true. Dude, I'd listen to a guy with good hair over like an old psychologist any day.
It's a good hair and flow, like the voice flow. The voice flows very well over the mic. Soothing.
Definitely.
I'd take that over a master's degree any day.
You should think about telling like bedtime stories.
You save a lot of money.
Wait, is he going to be the next David Attenborough?
Oh.
Yes, and I just finished Our Planet on Netflix, so I'm like in that zone right now. I'm ready to save all the dolphins. So
you got to send a link out to the dolphins so that they can check out your page.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is how I can help you.
Yeah.
For anybody listening that's trying to figure out what we were talking about, the phobia, there's a video that Rob posted through his YouTube channel, which is, you said it was Get Through Anything, right?
Yes.
Is that still your YouTube channel?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So he posted a video about how to overcome phobias or how to at least work around them, which was interesting to me because that's something from like a psych perspective that I didn't even really deal with. I kind of just completely dodged that. But you talked a lot about, it was exposure therapy. I'm sorry. It was interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. Now you have a master's in sports psychology, right, Nick?
Yeah. I just finished up in May, actually.
Oh,
so
cool.
I don't have as much of the clinical experience. A lot of my role was like educating, which it sounds like is something you plan on doing a lot, which is really, really awesome. But a lot of the clinical stuff, like we didn't really deal with a lot of phobias. We didn't deal with any of the specific neurological diseases or any of the like history of mental illnesses with, BPD or bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. But it was mostly just working with athletes and performance-based psychology, which I actually enjoyed a lot. But
okay,
go ahead.
Was it like a lot of like performance anxiety and stuff like that?
It was pretty much what keeps an athlete from being their best, right? A lot of times I think my grandma asked me a great question, and she was like, what happens if a baseball player, like a professional baseball player, spends 6 years playing great, like, and then one day he literally misses one easy hit and is never good again. He's just constantly in doubt or in fear that he's gonna fail or whatever. And that does happen to a lot of athletes. Maybe not in the professional setting, but
Rob and I can
Nelson Aguilar.
Rob and I,
yeah.
Well, Rob and I can relate to that a lot because our cousin Danny, he played baseball for Rutgers, and he was really good. But I think it was like his senior year. He got into like this big slump in hitting, and he was trying to see a hitting coach to like coach him out of this slump.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it helped because I was younger when that was going on. He did eventually make it to like the Yankees, like AAA team or whatever.
My people.
I can't.
So he got out of the slump.
Scranton Wilkes-Barre Yankees. Let's go.
And then he fell off the map. We didn't know where he was for a couple years, but yeah. But I know Rob and I can understand like that side for athletes. You know, you can get into it. It can get into your head.
Yeah.
That doubt, and that can really mess you up.
It's weird. I remember when I was younger, I played travel and AAU basketball, and I was the point guard, and I was a starter, and in practice I was great, but when game time came around, like I would not shoot. Like for some reason, like I did not want to shoot and miss, even if it was like the first quarter, and just like, you know, brick like a 12-foot jumper.
Yeah.
It was something like mentally, like I would still assist and run the offense and everything, but you can get it in your head that, and it can be so irrational too, because like, who cares if you miss a shot? Like it's not the last shot of the game or anything, and you're a starter, you can play. Like, why are you thinking that way? But the brain just does crazy stuff sometimes.
Yeah, that's kind of where a sports psychologist really shines. I mean, working with athletes when they're younger is incredibly valuable, because once they start to develop any type of like failure modification, like any type of failure mod where they think they might miss a jumper or they might miss a free throw in basketball, obviously, they just start getting into their head, and it ends up unfolding and unraveling into a situation that they really can't control as they get older, and it 9 times out of 10 takes them out of the sport entirely and ruins the sport for them, which ends up being a real shame.
Yeah, big time.
Nick, like trying to piece together like sports that he doesn't really know. That like you might not have noticed that he was struggling to like think of sports terms.
I was like, my God, what the fuck are you doing in basketball, dude?
He's like jumper and
granny. I was about to go granny shot.
Which is soccer, of course, as we all know.
When you shoot the puck in the basketball.
Pile driver.
Yeah, for someone with a degree in performance, you know, I don't really do sports. But, yeah, it sucks because once you kind of strike out as a kid, like, no pun intended, it's really hard to get back into either that sport or another sport, you know, when you're older, and then you end up resenting fitness and you end up resenting exercise and this whole vicious cycle. Then you end up 40 alone, virgin fat, and, you know, sad. Yeah, you cut that part, but honestly, that is true. It's obviously not like that correctly, Greg, but you know.
Yeah, for any Sixers fans here, I mean, look at Markelle Fultz. And
just forgot how to shoot. He just forgot how to shoot.
Rip.
He had the yips.
Yeah, he was nasty. He was like, he had the best three-pointer pull-up in the draft, and then he completely forgot.
Wasn't that the guy that had...
Happens to the best of us.
What, Craig?
What was it?
Didn't he have thoracic outlet syndrome?
Yeah, that's what they were throwing around, but
yeah, that's
like,
what they're saying, yeah.
Then he would just hammer dunks and just raise his arms above his head, which, like, apparently you're not supposed to be able to do if you have that. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm still a little hurt from that trade and how that ended. So that's why I brought it up.
So have you worked with, I guess Nick too for this, have you dealt with like, I guess your strategy for working with performance anxiety? Like, can you use those strategies that you mentioned in your video or anything Nick has like to work with performance anxiety? Is that like something you can tie in there, or is it more of a phobia thing?
Well, anxiety and phobia really goes hand in hand a lot, because if you have a severe anxiety, it can be called a phobia, I guess. If social settings make you super anxious, then you could have a social phobia. And say that social setting is a basketball game. And if you were to try to work through that, I guess like I talk about in the video, you could use exposure therapy. And as long as you have the necessary tools, which would be a gym full of people that are watching you play, and you have the time to go play in front of them and miss your shots, eventually, in theory, you should be able to work through that. And basically what gradual exposure therapy is starting very small and then working your way up to like your full fear and getting used to that. And maybe not completely eradicating it, but making it not hamper your everyday life. And I guess phobias more kind of hamper your everyday life. But if you want to talk about sports, say you get super, super nervous when you're about to go play at a basketball game, but you're okay in practice, then maybe a therapist would suggest, hey, why don't you bring a bunch of guests to the practice? Some outsiders, just some people who are coming to watch you play that will simulate a game scenario. The more you practice in front of not just your teammates and your coaches, kind of get used to that. You realize that it's okay. I'm missing my shots in practice, and if I miss them in a game, it's the same thing. There's still people here that see it. Nobody's calling me out. It's all going to be okay. So yeah, I guess gradual exposure therapy can be used in regular anxiety situations as well as phobia.
I think we see that kind of therapy play out. I think it was Penn State, their kicker. They brought like these massive speakers and just like surrounded them and had the entire team like surrounding the kicker, and like that was his kicking practice. He's like, all right, kick it from 40, from 50, and like backing up everything. Like that was his practice, was kicking in front of the whole team, just berating him the entire time. because then when you kick in front of Happy Valley, like it's kind of the same. I mean, it's probably a little bit louder, but
just getting them used to the pressure.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. That's a good question, because I feel like a lot of people struggle with that problem with the performance anxiety, even just going to the weight room. So not even performance, but just getting to the weight room. And exposure training helps a lot with getting people just motivated to go. Because if people are living in that, Rob said, that like constant state of fear and anxiety, one, they're not going to go, but two, if they manage to go, they're going to freeze up when they get there and end up either leaving or doing nothing for 30 minutes and just trying to muster up the courage to get through some type of workout. So starting with an empty gym, and then maybe going when there's not a lot of people at 6 a.m. or then maybe going with a buddy or getting a personal trainer, and then working your way to getting to a gym setting at 6 o'clock on a Thursday or something around dinner time, when every single machine is taken and dudes are literally sweating on you because there's so many people there. That's going to end up creating a scenario that person is able to succeed a lot better.
Right. And say, you're going to lift and you're new to it, and these guys are all benching, like 250, and it's 6 o'clock. You could barely get on a bench, but you really want to, work some chest, and you can only bench like 100 pounds. And then you feel bad having to take that machine away, even though, you're not comparable to everybody else. So yeah, it could be used in any situation.
So, complete hypothetical situation here I want to throw at you. Let's say you know this student physical therapist who has a practical that he's prepping for in about 4 days.
Hypothetical, of course.
Completely hypothetical.
So, of course.
That he's super nervous about, like very anxious about, leading up to it, and doesn't have time to really go through maybe that process fully. What would you recommend?
Putting a bunch of speakers around you and blasting music.
Oh, hypothetical.
Just like the Penn State here.
That's true. We have no idea. It might be Gerard. Jesus. I should have had more wine tonight. I am fucked.
That's tough. So I guess I would say, what happens if you do poorly? What happens?
So it's based on a pass-fail. Yes, I am the hypothetical situation, in case you haven't figured it out.
What? No.
So it's based on a pass-fail, and essentially, if you fail, you would have to retest when we return back to campus or virtually to campus or whatever, in like a month. But the way they set it up is because I did a dry run with like a few people today to practice it, and it's like essentially they'll give you scenarios to run through. It should take like 10 minutes, and then if you don't do something right, they're not gonna be like, "Hey, you failed." It's be like, "Hey, would you do that, or would you do like is that the way you should do that?" And then usually it's like, "Oh, okay, it'll click," and like, "Oh no, I meant to do this," and like you can correct it that way.
Right.
But for me, it's more so just the thought of having to do it.
Yeah.
It freaks me out.
Yeah, I don't know what I would recommend for like 4 days of prep, but what I could say, and I know that everybody, like all professionals would say, is that like if you did fail, like it's not the end of the world. You just told me that you get to take it again in a month. And then you have more experience. So you're even more prepared, and you know what to do to prepare ahead of time before the 4-day window is here, you know? So yeah.
I have a question.
No.
For the audience. Just kidding. Greg, is it mostly an oral exam, or is it like is there any written at all?
This one is just going to be straight up like we're running through range of motion testing. It's all like hands-on range of motion testing.
Okay, cool. So
manual muscle testing and like palpations.
Why don't you just hop on Skype with one of your professors or like someone that you know that is like professor-like that can stimulate that same kind of situation. Like get Anthony on Skype and just go through for like an hour. That'll help you out a lot.
Teaching assistant or
yeah, or even just like a family member, because you teaching to them will help you relearn the information, and it'll give you that exposure that you're probably afraid of subconsciously, even if you're just saying you're worried about the exam.
That makes sense.
And don't doubt yourself, because you always doubt yourself, and you're always quiet. Be outspoken, loud, aggressive. Get in their face. Like you're gonna be a drill sergeant that day. You are in charge.
Be brag. Be brag.
Be brag.
I don't know if we want to be brag.
Brag.
Just slam a funnel right before that.
Brag.
Rob, brag is Greg's drunk alter ego.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get it.
And brag is electric.
So,
yeah. He's very.
Does Bragg let the hair down and?
Yeah. Bragg is very different from Greg.
Greg also messages the group chats and responds to himself.
Yeah.
And nothing's ever spelled right.
No one even says a single word to him. I've also seen Bragg headbutt a 360-pound bodyguard. It was insane.
That's not true.
Well,
I saw it too.
Be true.
So
Greg, I'm gonna give you my non-masters in psych advice. As somebody who struggled with studying and taking tests my entire life, you can't underestimate the power of just saying "fuck it, we're doing it live." Right. At some point in your preparation, you just got to, at some point you just got to go in there and just be like, whatever happens, happens. I'm going to the bar after this, no matter what.
Correct.
But we can't do that in Philly.
Well,
you
still drink.
You work at like 16 bars. I'm sure you could sneak into one of them. So, Rob, as I was about to say, watching your video, you went into I think it was 3 different ways of going through it. One was going into it slowly, into your phobias and like dealing with them slowly. And then the one that I'm curious about was called flooding. And I immediately thought, like I said, like terrified of bees, absolutely terrified of bees. If I'm in a room flooded with bees, I would actually fucking die on the spot. So what technique would you use flood, or what phobia do you think you would use that flooding technique of, like, just crushing someone like that?
Man, so I'm not exactly sure. I wouldn't want to, recommend anything just because I'm not licensed yet. But I can tell you from what I read that most therapists don't recommend flooding because it's like such a jolt to your system that a lot of times it does way more harm than good. Yeah. So I don't know what kind of person you'd have to be to really have that work for you. A lot of examples are with like people that have a fear of heights or elevators or airplanes. Like, and if you take somebody with like a severe phobia of an elevator on there, like they're gonna freak out, and how much good are they really gonna get from that? And it takes a toll on you. If you get scared, your heart rate is up, you're tired after, and you can't do that multiple times a day. Like, what kind of evil ass therapist would be taking you on an elevator like 10 times in a row and you're just sweating and getting nothing from it?
210 heart rate.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like, at least with gradual exposure therapy, you can practice that a couple times per day. Start really small, work your way up. But with flooding, like, I don't know, it's tough. It's physically tough as well as mentally tough.
Yeah, I mean,
but actually, I will continue on this a little bit. I touch on virtual reality exposure therapy a little bit at the end of the video, and that's like still really new, but it kind of takes the best of both worlds, because like you can surround yourself in an environment that induces severe anxiety, but at the same time that it's not completely real. You could take the goggles off, but you're still getting all that sensory information and getting your brain used to being in that environment. So maybe you should surround yourself with virtual bees.
That would probably help. My fiance is anaphylactic to bees, like highly allergic to bees. I've told her parents I am not going to be the one that saves her. She's a lost cause. If we're like, I'm not being the one that saves her.
Are you allergic to bees too, or are you just afraid of them?
Just terrified of them.
Why?
Gerard,
they're so cute. They don't even want to hurt
Gerard,
you.
dress the corgi up as a bee, just like all day long,
and let it run around you. You'll be good in no time. But yeah, I've actually heard a lot about virtual reality therapy recently, and even more for like Gerard. Just watch a video of like bees, dude. Get like the buzzing and the headphones and legit
Discovery
just
Channel.
Your eyes.
So the buzzing's the worst. The buzzing's the worst part. Like if a fly buzzes past my ears, I'm dropping to the ground, and everyone around me just goes, "Bro, it's a fly." I'm like, I didn't know that at the exact moment.
That, ironically enough, that would actually be a good step for you, based off what you just said.
Yeah, they're the worst. Hate everything about them. Everything else is going great though. Don't really mind spiders or anything. We're just on bees.
Rob, what do you say for all the Philly sports fans out there? How do we deal with our anxiety of our sports teams' performances?
Winning transition right there.
Just give up. Just give up, man.
Beautiful, beautiful transition. And I would have to say that there is no cure for being a Philadelphia sports fan. It's a lifetime of suffering and sadness and disappointment.
It's singing no one likes us.
Yeah, you just have to embrace it, because no matter how good of a person you are, if you're a Philly sports fan, you are roped into that whole entire group, and people hate you automatically. Your teams always fail unless Nick Foles is involved. And yeah, that's your life. So I don't know. I can't give you advice for that.
What do you think about the NBA draft yesterday? Sixers like pretty much imploding their team.
I love it. I love every single minute of it. I mean, they got
Seth Curry. They got one of them Currys.
One of them Curry boys. One of them. Yeah, but I mean, if you want to dive deep into the Sixers talk, I'll say that I'm super happy to get rid of Al Horford's contract. Like, especially with 3 years left, like getting $109 million off the books. Like, I would have paid more than a first and a second round pick to do that. So for us to get Danny Green back in that trade as well, like, I'm ecstatic.
Dude, everybody wanted, I mean, not wanted, but everybody was ecstatic when Horford came. I remember all the Instagram posts like, this guy's legit. This is an upgrade. We're going to the finals. And pretty much everybody hated the whole team that was made after last summer.
Pretty much. I feel like everybody just tried to convince themselves that was the right move because like, it clearly wasn't. Like, your best player is a center. So then you go and sign the most, like the highest paid center in free agency. Why? You already have a center. So now you're paying two of them. They can't play together. And it was a train wreck. So I'm very happy after draft night for sure.
Let's move on to the Eagles. I think maybe you could speak on what's wrong with Carson Wentz. He's got some phobia or something, some kind of anxiety.
I think Nick needs to counsel him some sports psychology because something's going on there. The dude played like an MVP the year we won the Super Bowl and looked like he was improving every year leading up to that, and then completely just collapses. Can't stay in the pocket. Accuracy's gone down. Decision making has gone down. It's bad, man. I'm worried too.
Did that just happen this year? Was his decline just this year? Did he have COVID? I was gonna say that could happen, man.
He played pretty decent last year, but the whole team was just basically the practice squad and him. So it was hard to see through the weeds of everybody else playing bad that he was actually doing very well. But this year, it's just I don't know. It's almost as if he used it all up last year, and now
I was gonna say he might have trying to continue. He might have mentally peaked, man. Sometimes athletes clock out before they even really they literally do. They just kind of gave up on themselves. I'm not entirely sure.
He got married and had a kid. That was it.
He did.
Yeah, that could be it too. His focus is just not there.
Carson Wentz was a lot better.
Yeah, of course. He's got nothing to lose. Man. Now he can't get hurt or.
Yeah, but he was BDN.
Did you say Greg?
BDN.
Big Dick Nick.
Okay, I understand.
He did not understand. He had no idea.
All right, guys.
I don't know. The thing that worries me is that the mistakes he's making are all rookie mistakes. Like a veteran QB should not be doing what he's doing. So that's the only part that worries me.
He's just telling the media that's what I do.
I mean,
that's what I do.
To be fair to Carson, there was a few games where him and Jason Kelce were the only two starters on the team, on the field.
That's true. That is very true. And I also want to make clear that you should not be clamoring for Nick Foles to come back either.
Yeah, you're
hanging on to Carson was the right decision. That's inarguable, I think.
Yeah, Nick Foles has been injured more than Carson Wentz since he left the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who's won more Super Bowls?
They both have one.
Super Bowls.
Who has more statues?
My grandfather, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, Uncle Bobby probably has a statue in Japan or South Korea or something somewhere where they're still super fans of him.
Yep.
Just a small little town in Taiwan or something. 18 people worship him as their Lord and Savior.
Oh my God, that'd be so funny.
Oh.
Oh man.
And let's move on to the Phillies. What's our problem?
Do you have to? Like, can't you just skip the Phillies?
How about
Isn't baseball like 6 months away?
Let's talk about the catcher that we let walk away.
They let Realmuto go?
They just let him walk away.
Did they?
Terrible.
He declined the offer that they made to him, but which was arguable, like it wasn't enough money. It didn't make sense.
An offer. That's embarrassing.
I thought baseball started in like March.
It might. We don't know.
I'm also a Yankees fan, so I couldn't give less of a fuck about the Phillies.
I'm in on the Flyers though. I'm definitely in on the Flyers, man.
Yeah, they're our only hope in the city right now.
Oh yeah, totally.
Eagles are in first place.
Oh my god! I keep forgetting that.
It's very unfortunate they are because they're
also embarrassed.
They're in first place because of a tie.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Oh yeah, first place, baby. Let's go.
Well, don't forget Gerard's prediction that he made like a month and a half ago on this show.
It's still happening.
Yeah, it's true. Rob, we don't want to take up too much more of your time. Any last words
Where can we find
for the
you
fans
again?
out there?
Okay, yeah, you could find my stuff at getthroughanything.com, and that has links to all my social media on there. I think all the social media is just called Get Through Anything. So whatever platform you're on, if you look that up, it should come up. But I guess if I had any last words, I would say always seek help. I think that is the most important thing. Never be afraid to seek help because it's not something to be embarrassed about. All the best do it. Everybody needs to sometimes. And whether that means you have to seek help because you're the one with the problem, say you have some sort of mental condition and you just can't do it alone anymore. That's why there are people that work in this profession that I'm trying to get into. They're there to help you. Say you have a family member who's struggling and it's taking a toll on you. It's okay to seek help even if you're not the one with the main issue. So I think a good last message would be there's no shame in needing any sort of help. Reach out. Don't be embarrassed about it because everybody goes through it. So, yeah.
And to piggyback off that, even if you think there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, just go to therapy anyway, because your future wife will probably thank you.
That's true. That's true. Start couples therapy even if you don't have a problem. Get ahead of the problem.
Oh, good. My wife will listen to this podcast.
Okay, so before I hop off, I'll say one random piece of information because maybe you guys will appreciate it. We're talking about sports, and that gets me thinking about food to eat during watching sports. So I just went to this place called Angelo's Pizzeria in Philly, and has anyone had it before yet?
No, but I'm pretty sure it was on Barstool Pizza Review.
It was. That's why I went there. I looked up the top-rated pizza place in Philly, and I went, and you have to go. It was honestly probably the best slice of pizza I've ever had.
Is it better than Tacconelli's?
I think it probably is.
Oh.
I just ordered pizza because of you, literally in 2 button clicks.
Good, as you should.
My DoorDash dude's gonna be like, "I've seen you 6 times this week, guy. Get a life." I'm like,
self-care is the best care.
Absolutely. Actually, real quick before you leave, Rob, if you want to do a video on methods to prevent a panic attack, I think that'd be something really cool for you to do because there's a lot of like little niche options that people can use, like alternative nostril breathing, any of the underwater stuff. I think that'd be like something that you could deep dive and make a really cool video on.
Oh, all right. Well, that's a great idea. I'll definitely look into that.
Wait, alternative nostril, is that like
breathing techniques?
It's a breathing technique where
I use different nostril.
Yeah, you breathe in with one nostril and then you close it and then you breathe out with the other, and what it's supposed to do is supposed to slow down your. You guys look absolutely.
We're all doing it.
It's supposed to slow down your heart rate and kind of relax yourself. It's pretty interesting. I've used it with some of my athletes before, and they find some.
Wow.
Greg, seriously, Gerard, my God.
I hope my mic is picking up my nose.
Would you say it, Greg?
You're about like box breathing too, where it's like you inhale.
Yeah, it's similar to that, except just through the nose. Yeah, box breathing's great too. Seriously.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely look into that then. Maybe make a. See, there's so many different ways you can go with like the panic attack video. You could do a whole video on just breathing techniques.
Yeah.
So
that's why I thought it'd be cool. You'd be able to summarize it well.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for making me spend $25 on pizza too.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope it's good. I hope you got wings too.
I got. There's this. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Drew. I got cinnamon sticks. I had to at least mention.
Okay.
I hate you. You and your cinnamon sticks.
Rob, I was just gonna say you can also make another video on how to edit podcasts for Greg's use.
All right.
The man is taking shots at me, and I'm the only reason this thing gets posted.
No. I'm not saying you're bad. I'm not saying you're bad.
Greg.
I'm just saying maybe he could teach you something.
He can teach me everything because I literally know nothing.
Greg,
YouTube can teach you everything.
That's true.
This is true.
Yeah. Yep.
Rob, thanks for coming on. We're gonna send you some merch because the LCK
sweet.
merch, it's coming out soon, and you could be one of our first samples.
Definitely. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I had a good time.
Thanks for coming on, Rob.
Appreciate you joining us from your closet.
Yep.
It's a very nice background. Thank
you
you.
for helping.
Close. Got my foam roller in here. Good to go.
Good acoustics.
One more time,
all right,
Rob,
guys.
where can people find you if they just want to follow you and not necessarily, do you have like an Instagram or something?
Yeah. They could just follow me at Rob Ridarelli, and that's RIDARELLI.
That was mostly for myself.
Yep, there you go. All right, I got one follower off this pod. Let's go. All right, guys. I'll see you.
Thanks, Rob.
See you, Rob. Oh yeah, Greg. Didn't you say you were really pissed about something?
Yeah, fucking super pissed.
Oh, I thought you forgot what it was.
No. Yeah, I'm pissed. What am I pissed about? No, so it's city's shutting down again, like full lockdown.
Oh.
And it's just like the one thing that they're so adamant about always closing. I get like their whole modifications of restaurants or whatever. Like at the end of the day, if people aren't going to follow policies with or without, it's not going to change if you have them just sitting outside compared to inside. I don't think. I'm not an epidemiologist. I don't know. But they keep closing gyms down and they keep going after gyms. And like this whole, we're trying to push this whole like mental health thing. I don't mean us specifically, but I mean like the world in general is like, you got to take mental health seriously. And you're getting rid of the one place that acts as like the little escape for most people for mental health to like get out, let out some frustration, do whatever, work on themselves, work on their own body positivity and all that. And you're like, no, we're going to shut this down. And then weeks later be like, wow, suicide rates or something spiked or depression spiked. And then it's like, why did that happen? So because everyone's stuck inside. And I feel like there's no in between with this and how they're going to handle this when like shit hits the fan worse.
Yeah. It's tricky. There's a petition floating around for the mayor of Philadelphia to keep gyms open if we go into another lockdown. So like I guess they'd just be like closing bars and restaurants, but that it's so tough because you want to keep people safe, but then you also want to keep people safe. And it's like one you're battling a virus and one you're battling your demons. It's like, which one are you gonna have people choose?
So not for nothing, big shouts out to my gym because we're still open.
Well, it's like, and my thing is like, I'm not trying to downplay like what this virus is because it's very serious. It's not a joke, but like, I just think
wear your mask.
Like, and the thing is like, most of these places have restrictions now where it's like, I've been in my gym since it's reopened in July. Everyone's always had a mask on, and it's like, it's a old school, like hole in the wall kind of gym where it's like, you would think if you went in there with a mask on, they would be like, yo, take your freaking mask off. Like, what are you doing in here? And like, everyone's like, no, you have to walk in with a mask. You have this, like, they're following every policy, even though they're like the place that you would think is the exact opposite. They have a capacity of like, the limit's 18 in the gym. I've never been in there where there's more than like 9 or 10 people. Like, no one's tested from there yet. It's just like, it's little things like that I'm just like, I get it, but it's also, I feel like there's a bigger picture that's being missed if they want to keep talking about pushing mental health awareness and then being like, well, these things that you do to help cope with this, nah, you're done. You're stuck. So like as of 5 p.m. tomorrow, which this will go out Saturday, so as of 5 p.m. Friday, which is yesterday now, gyms will be shut. Oh, everything, like gym specifically.
What do you think is a good a solution for that? Because I've been trying to think of the same thing. I mean, my apartment complex just implemented a 2-person per hour rule, which is, I mean, it's a very tiny gym, so that's perfect. But like, can bigger gyms get away with like actually having people like make reservations and stuff? Do you think that's like a feasible option?
So this is kind of my wheelhouse because this
I was about to say,
literally what I do. So currently at East Stroudsburg, we're using IM leagues. People are signing up for reservation spots. We closed down our track. We have an indoor track. We closed down our track and we moved all of our treadmills around the track. So all of our equipment is spaced. I think it's 180 square feet per piece of equipment. So plenty of room, like socially distant between everything. So we were allowing people to come into the facility with a mask on, walk to their equipment with a mask on. Once you're on a piece of equipment, take your mask off, you're good. We had capacity set to 40, which is, I think, 250 square feet per person in our facility. Compared to normally, like we have 150, 200 people in our gym, right? So people come in, they say their reservation, they get checked in, they go to their piece of equipment and they start doing their workout. Today, we started implementing that no matter what, you have to have your mask on at all times now. That was the first time we implemented it. People don't really seem to mind it that much. But as of now, we're still open and we're hoping to remain open.
Like, that's the thing where it's like, even if you're like, and like, even if you're working, like the entire time you're in that gym, you step in, you step in, step out, you have that mask on. Like, and the guy's like, oh, I'm doing cardio, and he's like, it's effective. And he's like, I get it, but you gotta understand, do you like coming in here to use this gym and use that cardio piece, like whatever you're doing? Like, then keep the mask on.
Do you want to be doing cardio or be on a ventilator? Either way, like, you're fucked.
And the thing is, like, well, yeah, it's true. But the thing is, like, and it's not like these guys are like mainly like bodybuilder styles. There's a few guys that are like actual like serious strength trainers, but those are just like, you know, your gym bros that have been going there from ever, that are like older South Philly guys or whatever. And like none of them are going like super hard where they're doing like high intensity training on like these like this cardio equipment. So it's like you're not going to tax your system that much to the point that it's going to really affect your respiratory system in that way, where it's like going to affect sprints or whatever, something like that, where it's truly going to be an issue. But it's just like
my one GA is saying that in his he's a strength and conditioning. I guess he's doing dealing with people like pulmonary heart disease. Is that a thing? Does that sound right? People doing stress tests for that like still have to wear a mask like during their stress test. So yeah. Like if you're in that bad of shape where you're doing stress tests for pulmonary heart disease, like some random like 28-year-old dude couldn't wear a fucking mask while they're running.
There was a video of this guy who smoked. He was like our age, right? He was just making a point, but he smoked an entire pack of cigarettes, like chain smoked them, then put on 9 masks and ran a half marathon, which, I mean, maybe he was in great shape before that, but still, I mean, he was just proving that masks don't reduce your O2 levels at all.
And now he's addicted to cigarettes.
And now he's addicted. Now he's got now he's got a nicotine addiction. Like, congratulations, you proved it to the world.
Hey, you played yourself.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll see. I mean, it looks like this next month or two is going to be tough for a lot of people because it seems like a lot of people are canceling their holiday plans, and if gyms are closing and it's getting dark early, it's going to be tough, man. I'm hoping people are staying safe, and they're reaching out to their friends if they need to talk.
And then selfishly, we talked about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, how Merv was going to start programming for me, which shout out Merv because he has been. And we were like, oh yeah, the goal will be like, you know, maybe in a few months we actually do like a mock powerlifting meet, or like, you know, something's around in the open we do. And I'm like, hey Merv, just so you know, gyms are going to shut down as of Friday at 5 p.m. And he's like, that's fucked.
Merv, get him some outside lifting. Get him.
Oh, don't worry. Merv's already been talking about how he's like, we're just going to drop a bomb on this one. He's like, everything you got at home. He's like, I can wreck you with the stuff you got at home. He's like, you're going to die from Band of Good Mornings. He's like, I will kill you with Band of Good Mornings. Like, all right, great.
Merv's gonna be like, all right, we're doing a scavenger hunt today. Go find the biggest set of steps in South Philly that's disconnected and start picking them up. You're gonna be picking up stoop kids off their stoops in South Philly.
Stoop kids afraid to leave the stoop. But yeah, for all the people that were gonna hold me accountable, you still can because Merv will still be on my ass.
Let's go, Merv. That's what we appreciate about Merv.
Shouts out Merv for that.
Greg, you brought up how a petition is going around to keep gyms open even if the whole world shuts down.
Yes, that was great.
I'm thinking like, you know, with the restrictions that have already been in place, like people can't go into restaurants to get food, but restaurants can make it like takeout or something like that.
Or you can eat outside of the restaurant.
Yeah. Well, I'm just imagining like, okay, restaurants and bars have to close, but gyms can stay open. So all the restaurants and bars start converting into gyms so that they can stay open.
It would even be funnier if they had like to-go bags for the gym where you just fucking popped in and they gave you like a couple 20-pound dumbbells and some bands and told you to go fuck off in the parking lot. Like,
yes.
Well, I mean, and the thing is, like, and actually that'd be a sweet idea because as someone that was a full-time bartender for 2.5 years and is in like the fitness world, like, or the fitness industry, that'd be sick. Gym restaurants, I'm all in.
There's so many like regulations for food mixed in with sweaty people.
It's like, and like I said, I get it, but it's just like you're gonna kill people's mental health for sure. And then even like the actual shutting down of restaurants and everything is like, it's a killer for anyone that's like their livelihood. Thank God that's not my livelihood anymore, but it's like,
yeah, it's tough.
Unless you're gonna offer support to these people, like that you go from a year ago being, for most places, over your capacity for whatever it was, just banging out volume all night for customers, to being like, all right, here's 15 or 20% of like what you had before. Now you bump it up to 50 of what you had before, 50 technically what you had before, and now it's like, yo, you can have like 10% of the people, and it's gotta be forward to a table, and they all be from the same household.
And because they got no stimulus money, they're tipping you 8%. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think you have to wear masks in the house now too. I don't know if that's true or not.
They definitely cannot enforce that. That's definitely not enforceable.
That might be.
Yes,
this might be a good conversation for the next pod to take over episode 10. The boys, how we feeling about the boys on COVID?
Boys on COVID.
Boys on COVID. So, I mean, yeah, my biggest thing is like, I don't know. I just think about like mental health in this situation. It's just like, and Merv and I were talking about that too, where it's like, it's going to take a toll on people. Like, your holidays are here. You're working on like, people can't like support their family. Like they have kids. Like, how are you going to get like kids for your gifts for your gifts for your kids, like stuff like that. Like, that's just like, that's an added stress that you have.
Yeah, holidays are going to be tough.
So I don't know. I'm just like, I get it. Like I said, I totally get it. It's not a joke, but I just feel like that's like one of the things you could have worked on.
All right, let's wrap it up. This has been Last Call Kind of. I'm your host, Gerard Morgan.
No, I'm not getting. This is happening 2 episodes in a row.
Drew's fantasy team.
Also, Chris Hopkins just texted me, so shouts out Chris for actually listening. You should stop listening immediately.
Shouts out Chris. Drew, do you want to touch on the 32-team league?
He told my mom about the podcast.
Well, I'll just give an update. Nothing too crazy. We have our set rosters. I'm looking pretty good. I traded for Patrick Laine the other day. I had to give up 2 firsts for him, but I think it was a fair trade. We are currently still doing our rookie draft. The whole thing started off as like a basic fantasy draft, like 2 minutes, pick your guy. But since it's 32 teams, not everybody, and it's all people in different time zones, not everybody could be on at the same time to pick during their 2 minutes. So the commissioner turned it into a slow draft where now each pick is 24 hours long. You have 24 hours to pick who you want in that round. And we're going on about 2 weeks now of the rookie draft. I think we only... We're actually in round 8. There's 8 rounds for the rookie draft for some reason, but it's actually, I mean, not for some reason. It's good because we need to get our teams and our prospect pools built. But yeah, we only just hit round 8 like a couple days ago, and it is just mind-bogglingly slow. Free agency can't start until the draft is done, so we're all just kind of
think about that.
We're all just waiting for free agency to start. And free agency, you can only claim 3 guys a week, so it's going to be another 3-4 weeks before everybody has enough free agent claims to actually fill your team.
And you live off of making 17 transactions every week. What are you gonna do?
Dude, I get a lot of offers daily. It's actually slowed down a bit because of the draft. But I feel like it's gonna pick up a lot again when free agency starts. Dude, I'm a lot more into this, I feel like, than our other league. No offense to our other league. Our other league's a lot of fun, but since you could trade draft picks and prospects, there's a whole nother layer to it that I'm really having fun with. But I have to be smart about my trades because, I love my blockbuster trades, but I can't be doing that every day or else I'll be imploding my team.
That's fair.
Plus, the season hasn't even started, so I don't know how people are going to do. I'd rather make a blockbuster trade in season when I know who I'm getting is actually, good.
Right. That makes sense.
I got a bunch of the Flyers prospects, though.
Of course you did.
Seems like way too much work to be able to be invested in. And did you pay to be in this league?
No, it's a free league. It's just it's their first year, so they didn't want to set a price. They wanted to make sure everybody was involved and would stick through it the whole season and year to year.
Just an absurd amount of time for no chance of winning anything. No shot at last 2 weeks.
Like I said, everybody in here pretty much. I mean, there are some other Americans, but a lot of the league is Canadians. They live for the shit.
I text Drew and I was like, because I wanted to see how it was going, make it a topic for the show 2 weeks ago, and I was like, "Yo, are you still in that league?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You want in?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm dying over here at school. How do you want to maintain a full-time job when I could full-time job managing this team when I barely managed the league, but the league we played paid buy-in for, of our group of friends, and I would just be like, oh crap, I didn't set my team today. Oh well, whatever."
That was me.
Oh, we know that.
And that sounds like my Wawa car accident excuse.
No. On that note,
hey, wait, before we go, shout out the Bobby Ryan Fantasy League, my boys.
Absolutely.
All you damn Canadians up there, you're so funny in the group chat.
Speaking of Canadians, season 9 of Letterkenny is coming out Christmas Day. So make sure you start watching that. So I'm your host, Gerard Morgan. This has been Last Call Kinda. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review. Tell a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. If you didn't like it, pretend this episode never happened. Go watch a different episode that you liked more again. Any other questions from the Peanut Gallery?
Shout out to Morgan.
Oh my God.
I'm allergic to peanuts.
One of these times.
Get ready for some merch drop.
Oh,
pretty soon.
Boys.
Get ready.
Potential teaser, potential.
No pun intended.
LCK in person.
Oh yeah, we hired a model, and
what the fuck?
The fans are gonna.
Oh,
I fan.
I meant.
Y'all are talking about two different things.
Yeah,
I meant us recording as a group potentially.
Yeah.
Oh.
With mask, with following COVID policy.
Right, of course.
Can we get an LCK mask?
I have one on there, dude. I have it already made.
In the thing.